says anymore. I'm interested in what he's done.
You tell them it's still about hope.
I don't know if we can recover from this.
You tell them it's still about change. Hope. Change. Hope. Change.
As he would say it, we're ready for a change.
And I don't feel he deserves a second chance.
He promised people.
Promise. Obama let me down.
It's sad. It makes me angry. That really makes me very, very angry.
It just hasn't worked.
4 more years of Barack Obama. We just need 4 more years of gridlock.
We try change, and this is what change got us.
It will be a travesty if that happens.
I could not vote for another 4 years of Obama.
They voted for the wrong guy.
Let's get the nation back in order.
I am not voting for President Obama. That much I do know. He's done a lousy job.
He didn't make good on any of his promises. Smoke and mirrors.
Further in debt.
Deficit is going up.
Business is closing. Government handouts.
I'm so disappointed.
I expected a lot more.
We're divided. We're spending way too much. I have no optimism.
I fear for my children.
People are angry.
It's more disgust at this point. I'm exhausted and I'm tired.
The healthcare costs are going up also. To me, it looks very dismal.
It's not hopeful. That's just heartbreaking.
I've always been Democrat.
I am a Democrat.
I live in Florida.
Registered Democrat. I'm an independent.
I was raised Democrat.
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 On the east side of Des Moines, Iowa.
I voted for President Obama.
I voted for Obama. Of course, I voted for Northeast Ohio. Democrat.
Virginia.
My background's more independent.
Typically, I vote more Democrat, but not this election.
I cannot vote for President Obama again.
Now, welcome to this special edition of Hannity. Now, you just saw part of the new movie titled The Hope and the Change. Now, the hour-long film is a product of Citizens United and highlights a large group of registered Democrat and independent voters who supported President Barack Obama back in 2008. But now, 4 years later, they're not buying into the hype, the hope, the change. And the movie's going to premiere on Tuesday in Tampa at the Republican National Convention. And then in September, just in time for Election Day, the movie will be out in theaters. But tonight, only on Hannity, you will be able to see large portions of this film. And then later, you're going to hear directly from some of the voters that are featured in the movie and all that voted for Obama in 2008 and will no longer be supporting him this election. Joining me now are the writer, director of the film, Steve Bannon, the film's producer, David Bossie, and Fox News contributor, Pat Caddell. Now, Pat consulted on the making of this film. I don't say this lightly, but I mean every word of this. This is the most powerful documentary I've ever seen in my life. There's no way that anybody watches this film could vote for Barack Obama. It's impossible. You bring us back and walk us through the whole election cycle. It's almost like I feel like I have amnesia and I follow this every day. Tell us how you got started.
Dave and I last year at this time sat down and talked about having a film for this cycle. We didn't just want to make a film that talked to conservatives or talked to Tea Party people. We wanted to really think through, kind of look at it through David Axelrod's eyes in the summer and fall of 2012. And we said, if you look at those battleground states, 7 states, 100 counties, 7 or 8 states, 100 counties, 5 to 6 million voters, all Democrats, all independents that voted for President Obama. And that's when we reached out to Dave reached out to Pat Caddell. We needed people that help us find the pool of people that are out there that were so strongly supported President Obama. We want to go through the journey of their lives and the journey of the country in the last 4 years. So
it's almost like an awakening process. You remind us the huge crowds, the yes we can, and I'm not going to have to put gas in my car or pay for my mortgage, and we elect Barack Obama. I mean, it was almost like this hypnotic trance. You capture that, and now people wake up 4 years later.
It's a very powerful film, John. I think that is saying it in their own words. And as Steve said, these are Democrats and independents. These are what I consider, people bandy about, the political professionals bandy about the Reagan coalition. In my opinion, that's who these people are. And if politicians can learn to speak to middle America, these people, they're going to win a lot of elections.
You know, Pat, you're a Democrat. You've been outspoken against the Obama administration. Very different Barack Obama in 2012 than the one on this film. This was an uplifting figure that was going to unite the world, and
what's important is that all of the people who appear in this film, who are, again, Democrats, independents, no Republicans, or no conservatives, no Tea Party people, these are people who were in the middle or, conservative Democrats or moderate Democrats, but they believed. When what you're talking about is they invested a great deal of hope. And their disappointment. Now, Sean, you're a conservative. Your objections to Obama.
I had Obama nailed from the beginning, Pat. So, I'm sure
you see through this. But these voters invested other kinds of hopes, and their disappointment in what they did not get, what he promised, and what he's delivered. And what is shocking is hearing their own words. And my job in this, what I help them do is, you want to do this straight. You've got to go out and talk to people in their language, not your language, not the people you talk to, and let them express it, because it will shock you because they're not
that's the best word. Look, and we're going to show a lot, folks. You got to see this. We're going to show you a lot of the film throughout this next hour. I think that's the word that I would use. It shocked me to go back and to see the crowds and to see people in this moment where people thought that this country was going to get better and change, and that this unifying figure, and seeing it through the prism of today,
right,
and the negativity in this cycle.
Right. Can I just say, everybody likes to, on a daily basis, attack Citizens United for our Supreme Court case. We went to the Supreme Court and fought the Federal Election Commission for our right to do this. We didn't go to create super PACs. We didn't go to create American Crossroads or allow unions to be able to spend a lot more money. We went to the Supreme Court for our First Amendment rights to be able to make films and advertise them, which was a criminal act. Under McCain-Feingold. And so I'm proud to say this is our first film since the Supreme Court.
That's a great point. Really is. When you're going through that old footage, though, and you see the crowds and the select moments that we all remember,
it was unbelievable. I mean, when we decided, you look at the crowds and how they look. You look at the catharsis.
Crying, Jesse Jackson crying, and all these celebrities.
One of the reasons I got the idea, when we heard the focus groups, and then when we started interviewing people, I asked them to go back to the summer 2008 when he first became conscious of Barack Obama. Asked them to go back to Election Day. Asked them to go back on Grant Park night. And the emotion, the investment people had in President Obama, it was unbelievable. And so when you put it together with the footage and hear him talk about it, you can see that this country, President Obama, for a moment in time, had something I think that was very unique in American history. And you see kind of how it's evolved over time.
Maybe this was the wrong question. Was it all an illusion? In other words, was he almost like a product of slick marketing?
Can I just say, I don't think the people that are in this film, and a lot more people that we spoke to in the focus groups, they really didn't understand Barack Obama's background. They didn't understand, our first film in 2008 about Jeremiah Wright and about the terrorist connections and all of his background. They didn't understand it nor care.
But you remember, as Democrats and independents, you're talking, and that's what Pat and Kendra Stewart were so important. They have a different nomenclature. Those types of things that people were talking about in 2008 that even came up, Reverend Wright, that is not even on the horizon.
It really isn't.
It's not on the horizon, Sean. It was very much focused on bringing the country together.
We got to take a break, Pat. I promise we'll get you back in the next segment. Now, we're going to have more with Steve, David, and Pat coming up after the break. Then later, you're going to hear from Democrat and independent voters featured in this film. Now, they will explain why they once believed in Barack Obama's Hope and Change slogan and why they now say they regret their vote.